Hey there, guys. This is Flamzeron, aka YouTube's Tasuke. I know it's been a while since this was even a thing, but I did actually play the Nioh alpha demo for a couple of days. And you'll have to forgive me. I didn't record any gameplay footage of when I played it 'cause I just didn't think to do it, and I was in a bit of a time crunch, so I didn't really have much time to record anything. Plus, since this demo was limited time thing, I can't go back and record anything. But there's gameplay footage if you wanna find it yourself. Just look up Nioh alpha demo footage and you can see kind of what I'm talking about. But I played it and honestly, I'm not entirely pleased. I hate to say that, but and before I say anything, you got to understand I've been following this game since it was announced, back in 2004 or 2005. The first time I saw it was a little teaser demo on one of PSM's DVDs that came with it was like the big PS4, or not PS4, the big PS3. Think about it. This game has been in development since the PS3. But it was the big PS3 reveal, or the big showcase thing. And this was back during the Boomerang controller days, so just shows how old this is, and it looks kind of cool. And from what I understand, the developers, I think it's Team Ninja who's developing it. They actually changed the general gameplay of it, before the alpha demo. I might have it reversed, but I think it was going to be an action RPG, and then they changed it to straight up action. I think that's what I might have it reversed. You can probably find an article explaining things, but yeah, a lot of people are comparing this to Dark Souls. I know Epic Name Bro compared to Onimusha, which I wish was the case, but I feel like it really is more like Dark Souls just because of how it plays. The controls are pretty tight, and dodging is important. It's more about kind of counterattacks and dodging and whatnot. And it plays very much like Dark Souls. Even when you die, you lose your stuff and you go back to this little shrine thing that you can pray to level up, and you can get equipment and whatnot. Just it plays very similar to Dark Souls. I guess technically Bloodborne, since it's more of dodging. The game doesn't even have a roll, I don't think. The dodging was kind of I didn't really like the way the dodging worked. It didn't feel. I felt like the game wasn't really set up for the kind of dodging that you would do in Dark Souls, where you would dodge under an enemy's. It's tighter dodging, and it's a more tactical. Where I felt like I was doing more running away than having to circle back, and I felt I guess the iframes were a bit there weren't that many. I would try to dodge under an attack, and I would get killed. And I feel like the difficulty of this game was kind of. I didn't play it for very long. I was able to get kind of far, but I definitely died a lot, and I couldn't tell if every time you die, any of your souls or whatever that you have, you would lose. You could get them back or not, because it seemed like even though I would have some, they would not. I wouldn't be able to retrieve them even if I had enough. That may have just been an alpha demo thing. I'm not entirely sure. And for example, with Dark Souls, you're playing your new game and you're getting hit by enemies without your shield up or whatever. Normally, it would probably take you, with most classes, unless you're playing the Depraved, where you're taking everything at but even I've never played the Depraved in any of the, not for actual not for realsies at least, as far as I remember. But basically the start with nothing with all your stats at one class. If you're playing just a basic soldier or a knight or whatever, any of the other actual classes that give you stuff, depending on who you're picking, you're probably gonna die in depending on like if it's a regular attack, maybe 5 to 7 hits, maybe. Like the point being is that you're like if you get hit once, it's not gonna like utterly destroy you, even if it's your first time playing. Like if you get hit like several times, yeah, it'll destroy you. But if you get hit once, it's not gonna make that big of a difference. Whereas I feel like here in Nioh, I got hit like 3 times and I died. Even when I got more armor, I was noticing that like I would like be killed in like 2 or 3 like 3 or 4 hits, and I'm just thinking, I don't, the Dark Souls games are hard, but they're not like it's not about like just being super hard. Like it's more about there's more to it than just you know really tough enemies that just do a lot of. It's not just the damage, basically. Um, and honestly, I just feel like the game's not really equipped to be handled like a Dark Souls game. I think they've kind of, I think they have, I think we're having a little bit of a um style clash. I've talked about it on the podcast, but I did it pretty early and admittedly I wasn't really articulate with my rather I didn't really articulate myself very well. I feel like here I'm doing a bit better. So if you have any questions or if you want to clarify something, that's fine. I am aware that Tecmo Koei and Team Ninja, I believe it is, took feedback into consideration. I feel like at this point they're probably done like listening to like the immediate feedback. They might do another demo and then I might try to comment on that. Maybe that one I'll try to stream or do footage for or something. But in here, like that's my main thing. I just feel like the gameplay style is a little clash. Like my bias aside, because I will admit I didn't really want it to play like Dark Souls. I mean, as you guys know, I love the Dark Souls games. I love the Soul series and Soulsborne or whatever you want to call it. But that doesn't mean that I want every single game to be, Dark Souls. Like I love the Tales series, but I don't need every JRPG I play to have a Tales battle system. I know that's kind of weird coming from me, but like something like Kingdom Hearts or East would be fine, or Star Ocean's kind of similar. Like I'm willing to play games of different types, and I feel like I think a Dark Souls samurai game could actually be pretty cool if done well. And actually, to be honest, this game kind of has like an interesting combat system. I think. I kind of like sort of like the different stances, where like you've got your regular stance and then you got your low stance and your high stance, and I'm like I didn't do the high stance because it did the most damage, but it was actually kind of cool. I liked that. I thought it was kind of interesting. I did find it a bit of a pain to have to switch because I'd have to like kind of mentally like think like I need to switch my style, and I would try to do it like in the middle of combat. At first, I tried to kind of prepare for it a little bit more by like switching it beforehand. I tend to alternate between the regular stance and the high stance because that seemed to get the job for me. I didn't fight any of the bosses. I understand you can cheese them out. Like I mean, you can cheese out all kinds of different things, including cheese when you make your sandwiches. That was stupid joke. I apologize. I actually don't. But anyway, yeah, that's my general stance. I'm actually kind of disappointed. I was really hoping to play like this cool, like even if it was an action. I'm not saying it can't be an RPG or it can't be similar to Dark Souls. I think that's fine. I tend to be the kind of guy like, oh, this reminds me of Dark Souls, or oh, this reminds me of Tales, or oh, this like. If you watch my Xenoverse 2 news video, I talk about Saint Seiya Brave Soldiers and Saint Seiya Soldier Soul, like a different franchise entirely, but I felt like the Xenoverse battle system was similar to it, That's just kind of the way I think. And just different stuff, and kind of like how Shenmue, it's like, oh, this is kind of like I mean, that's not necessarily a good example because Shenmue uses the Virtual Fighter battle system. Maybe like, Dead or Alive is kind of reminds me of Soul Calibur from a standpoint of kind of building your own combo. that's just an example. I mean, I don't think the two games are actually that similar. But I play them kind of similarly. I think they both have the 8-way run, or Dead or Alive sort of has like a thing about it. But you know what I mean? Like, it's okay for games to be similar to others. That's not really the issue. I will admit I didn't really want that for Nioh. I wasn't really looking for a Dark Souls game. I understand that Lords of the Fallen plays very similar to Dark Souls, but I was actually kind of looking forward to it too. I never did play it. Uh, in terms of the story, it seems okay. I actually kind of like that the blonde guy. I think his name's William, the guy who looks like The Witcher. I do like that you start off with sort of like Western style clothing. I was worried that it was going to be all like he's the chosen one, he's the blonde samurai, kind of thing. But I'm glad they treated it more like a foreigner approach. But I think it was good. I do think that for this game to really work well as a Dark Souls game, I really would have preferred if you could make your own character, because it just seems like they're trying to tell a narrative story using the battle system of a non-narrative game, or a loose narrative game. Because like Dark Souls, the story, it's a bit different. You'll get to hear what I think once I eventually review Dark Souls 3, which will be soon-ish. But yeah, that's my general stance on it. Honestly, I'm not really looking forward to it. I hate to say that. I'll still give it a try. For all I know, it could have just been like the alpha demo, sort of being like, like not really being completely optimized, and I think that's true. Um, I can't tell. I don't know how many people actually enjoy it. And if you do like this and you're watching this, like, and you're about to flame me, like, it, like again, I'm gonna at least give the game a try when it actually comes out. And yeah, I was just a little disappointed because I was kind of hoping for something a bit different. I think Onimusha would have been cool. That would have been really cool, and they could throw in RPG elements into it too. But yeah, that's pretty much that. So we'll have to see what they do with the game going forward and how things change. But yeah, this is Flamzer on aka YouTube Tasuke signing out. See you later.